Hi, my name is Jared Mello, and this is Mello Mentoring. Please remember to subscribe if you have not already, and to click the notification bell to be notified when I come up with more videos. Now, thank you for everyone also who has subscribed before and has been commenting and replying on my posts. I'm very grateful for all the new subscribers that I have. In this video, I want to talk about the decline of America as I see it. And it's very similar to what the Roman Empire, I feel like, has gone through, where they did not collapse from the outside, they collapsed from within. And I think America is going through something very similar right now. And just as the country, I feel like, is like North Korea, Russia, China, those threats pale in comparison to the individuals, like the Republicans versus Democrats, conservatives versus liberals, the polarity between U.S. citizens. If anything's going to bring down this country, it's that. And just like that is how it is for the country, it's that way for individuals too. A lot of us are having problems with meaning and satisfaction and fulfillment in life, and people struggle with depression, anxiety, addiction, other spiritual maladies, gambling, sex addiction, love addiction. We're struggling the same way the country is struggling, from within. There's a lot of things missing right now that people in the country are just missing out on, spiritually and otherwise. So, the big difference in this generation is we don't have these outside purposes that previous generations have been given. So during World War I, that was people's mission. It was like, oh, we have this great war. It was called the Great War that people were fighting. And everyone had to sacrifice for that cause. Then it was the Great Depression. Many people had to sacrifice for that cause. And it was just good enough just to be surviving and continuing to find food. And then it was World War II, then it was Korea, then Vietnam. And then the last 25, 40 years or so, there has not been a good outside purpose for many people. Some people try to throw themselves into politics, but I also see people throwing themselves into identity politics, focusing too much on people's group identity. And I can't stand that, because for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. The more people concentrate on the group's identity of people, the more people actually notice race, sex, gender. I know that's how it's becoming for me. I notice race and gender so much more than I used to, and I don't think it's a good thing. I feel like we should be trying to live and judge others as individuals, because everyone's different. Not all gay people are the same. Not all Asians are the same. Black people are the same. White people are the same. Like, no, everyone's different on an individual level. And I don't want to be judged just as a white person. I want to be judged as an individual. And I think there's a lot of focus right now. They're dying for some sort of struggle or for some meaning. And I think some people are throwing themselves into this. And there has absolutely been times where feminism and the civil rights movement has, I think, been very good. But I think right now we've passed a point where it might actually be causing more harm than good right now. And yes, I think black people have absolutely been oppressed in this country. The problem is I don't see enough emphasis on the coming together part at the end. I think a lot of black people learn about what white people have done to them over the centuries, and they start to hate them. And I think the previous president did not emphasize enough the let's come back together piece. Martin Luther King Jr. said, when my brothers and sisters are excluded by a group, we will make a bigger circle to include them. That love piece is the missing piece right now. There's so much missing wisdom going on both sides in my eyes. Anytime people subscribe to an ideology, no matter what, bad things happen. And I see both sides are doing it. And if anyone's really being honest with themselves, they're going to have differing views than their party and their party's stance. People are going to think a little bit of both. And right now, some of the wisdom I don't see is like, hey, sometimes struggling and sacrificing is good. And I don't see that happening nearly enough. And yes, for example, minorities or women, perhaps you've been oppressed, but does not do that much good to dwell on that fact. All any of us can do is work in our circle of influence to do something about it. To me, that's a much more productive way to go about those issues. The bigger issues on the whole nationwide scale, that's a tough one to tackle. But if we all do the best we can, the likelihood that we get discriminated against does begin to go much further down. And this no sacrificing issue, I think that's at the core of America's decline. No one is willing to sacrifice, and I think we're dying for morals and values right now. But religion used to be the standard way that a country had morals and values, and it's completely missing right now. It's never had a smaller influence, and I think a lot of people think that's good, but I think those people are only looking at a couple issues. Like, there has been a lot of violence over religion, there has been pedophile priests, and I think a lot of people don't like the church because of anti-gay marriage stances and pro-life stances. But neglecting those two things, there's a lot of other good things that are also being neglected. This country's dying for. For example, it'd be great if people waited till marriage to have children. But I've seen some stats, 50% or 23% of people are born into single-parent households. 70% of black kids are born into single-parent households. 77% in 2015. And it's absolutely true that kids born into a single household are more likely to get involved with drugs and to become criminals. That's a fact. And that's not to say, if you're a single parent out there, that you can't do a good job. No, you absolutely can do a good job. It's just more likely that things can go wrong, because having two people there just does make things easier in many cases. As two heads are better than one. You're able to, I see some people in single parent households, they have to work a couple jobs, they just can't be there as much. And it's a shame, but some of these morals and values that are missing, sacrificing the fleshly pleasures, could go such a far way right now, and we're dying for this. Just like the Roman Empire, the same thing. People don't sacrifice anymore in America. They have sex whenever they want to. It's called slut shaming now, if you shame people that are or women into who are sleeping around. And it's like, hey, I don't think people should slut shame, but it absolutely should maybe be taken a little more seriously, the decision to sleep with people. And I'm guilty. I'm guilty of doing this. I'm guilty of trying to have casual sex. And I don't think it's very good, though. It hasn't served me well in any way. And I would have been much better served by waiting and trying to find someone I really loved before doing it. But hey, here I am just talking about it. I think it could go a far way if the country were to start having some morals. And for the people like Sam Harris out there who want rational arguments for morals and values and principles, I'd be very curious what those flags are. I know honesty is a big one with Sam Harris, but like, what else is there down the line? Because we're going to have something replace religion if it's not going to be religion to guide this country. And like Nietzsche did say, God is dead, but he also had meant that, as Jordan Peterson always says, and we won't be able to wash away the blood fast enough with all the violence that could occur. And I see that's what's happening today. It's not very good. And in healthcare too, I see the same thing. Doctors, nurses, hospital administrators, insurance companies, pharmaceutical salesmen, medical equipment salesmen, medical equipment companies. Everyone's taking a piece of their profit pie. And there's a reason why an American heart surgery is $30,000 more than one in Australia. $72,000 versus $41,000 about. Where is that extra $30,000 going? I suspect it's going to the profit pie problem. And hey, if we want something like universal health care, socialized medicine in this country, all of those people I just mentioned are probably going to have to sacrifice some money and profits. But guess what? Nobody wants to. Everyone always thinks someone else should be sacrificing. Not us. Not me. Oh, that person should pay for this. I hear a lot of people say, oh, the billionaires should pay for this, pay for that. And it's like, we should all take personal responsibility. We should all try to sacrifice ourselves. Because if we're not willing to sacrifice, who are we to try to tell other people they should be? Right? We all have to be willing to. And if people were willing to sacrifice, maybe we could have a single-payer system. Maybe. But as it is, I don't see it ever happening. It's never going to happen in America. Nobody's willing to sacrifice. And people don't know how to wait anymore. We're too into instant gratification. We don't know how to withhold reward in the present for future reward. Very few people know how to do this. There's just a lot of missing wisdoms right now in America's decline. The group identity game, I hate that game too. I don't think there's much wisdom in that. I think there's wisdom in treating people as individuals. There's wisdom in treating them like we would treat anyone else. Treating anyone, whether they're gay, straight, woman, male. I see women, for example. There's one woman on Instagram, she's really caught up on having more directors be women, like movie directors, film directors. And it's like, why do you care so much if there's more women film directors? It's like, how about, instead of focusing so much on getting the same gender into film, concentrate on just being a better film director yourself. That's all anyone can ever do. That's more in your circle of influence than trying to make sure there's other women film directors. Why does that matter? Why does that matter? Seriously. Like, men are more prone to go to certain positions, just as women are more prone to go into certain positions, because women and men are different. We have different likes and tastes sometimes. Some women are more like men. Some men are more like women. None of it's wrong, but people are just different. People have different preferences. So it's like, why care so much about that stuff? It's really annoying. And the tribalistic nature of this country right now is also pretty crappy. Social media and the internet has allowed us to become extremely more tribal. And I see this in the analogy of music. I look at Queen, Freddie Mercury, singing at Wembley Stadium in 1985. And the whole crowd is waving their hands back and forth to Bohemian Rhapsody. And I think to myself, what would the equivalent of that be today? And the answer is, I don't think there can be one. One, because Freddie Mercury was an amazing talent, but two, a lot of people go online and they're able to find specifically their little niche of music. And since they're now able to get more specific about what they want to listen to, we're missing that group piece. The group piece of music bringing us together as a whole now. Does that happen anymore? In smaller groups, but not in that big scale, in that Queen Wembley Stadium. And there is a power in numbers like that. Just watching that video, or if you've seen the new Queen movie, watching it being remade, redone, is so powerful. And we're missing that now. And we're missing that as a country because we have all these ways to become more tribal, to be absolutely specific about what we want to listen to. And the same goes for politics. Everyone has their own little niche. They can just get into an echo chamber and hear more of what they want to hear. And that's it. Tribal. Being tribal is not much wisdom. I mean, I think there's wisdom in knowing that sometimes people can change their minds. Just because we think it today does not mean we'll think it 5 years from now, 10 years from now. I've changed my mind. And I try my best not to judge too much, because when I judge, man, it's just not good. It's not good to judge too much. I don't think it's good for anyone. And I never know when I'm going to be having the opinion of someone that I'm judging, because my mind can change. But a lot of people love to point their fingers at the bad guys, etc. But I'm concerned about this America in decline piece. It's less social media would be a good thing. And I heard Sam Harris on a podcast the other day. He said that, his guest said, a 1-minute delay for social media posting might actually go a far way. So you click post, and you have 60 seconds to really decide whether that's truly what you want to say. That might be a way for it to become a little less toxic, social media. But, yeah, not less social media, more outside time, less tribalism, more individualism, less emphasis on group identity, these are the things that America is lacking. Morals, values, principles, sacrificing. This is what we need more of in this country, and I hope we can get there before we crumble from the inside out, just like the Roman Empire did. So, that's all I have for you today. Remember, I'm about to be uploading the Everything Eccentric Podcast very shortly. I'll be trying to upload that to this channel too, and I can't wait to do that, and I'm excited to find more guests to go on the show as well. So until then, enjoy this beautiful day outside. My mood gets so much better when it's nice outside like this. It's like 60, 65 here in New Jersey, and I can't get enough of this weather. A little sun and warmth is one of the best antidepressants and motivators around, I'll tell you. So, until my next video, have a great rest of your day.